The same hands that tried to strangle your destiny are now choking on your silence. Because let's be real, they did everything, didn't they? They lied on your name with no shame in their chest. They made sure to smile in your face while sharpening the knife behind your back. They slandered you, mocked your kindness, weaponized your vulnerability, and treated your love like it was disposable. They dragged your name through dirt that they walk in, and still thought they could outrun karma. But look at them now. Look what life is doing to the ones who couldn't keep your name out their mouth. Look what the universe is doing to the ones who made you their obsession. Before we go any further, like and subscribe if you're really one of the chosen ones. This ain't just a message, it's a spiritual call to arms. When you do, it tells YouTube to send this to more souls like you, the ones who've been targeted, betrayed, overlooked and underestimated, but never defeated. Let's amplify this truth. They thought you were soft, a pushover, just another light to be dimmed, another empath they could drain dry and leave hollow. But the mistake they made, and make no mistake, it was fatal, was thinking your silence meant surrender, that your kindness meant weakness, that your peace meant permission. Nah, your silence was your weapon, your stillness was divine strategy. And now life is tearing them up, because when you are chosen, you are covered. When they throw dirt on your name, the universe plants you deeper. And when they pray for your downfall, they sign the permission slip for their own collapse. You were never the one to play with, but they played anyway. They tested you repeatedly. They studied your light like a predator studies prey, looking for any crack, any weakness. They got bold, didn't they? Some of them tried to humiliate you in public, made whole group chats just to tear you down, tried to block your blessings, intercept your opportunities, and keep your name in rooms you were never in. But the gag is, you didn't need the room, because God built a whole palace for you elsewhere. You know the ones I'm talking about. The ex who swore you'd never rise without them, the fake friend who clapped when you failed, the sibling who was jealous of your gift since childhood, the jealous co-worker who smiled in your face and ran to management behind your back, the hater who laughed at your struggle, thinking the universe wasn't watching. But it was. And now the get back? Oh, it's nasty, silent, unrelenting, spiritual. You didn't have to lift a finger. The universe is doing it for you. One by one, they're losing what they once held so tightly. Their minds fractured, their money vanishing, their energy depleted. They're haunted by the very darkness they projected onto you. It's poetic, ain't it? See, you weren't just their target. You were their test, and they failed miserably. And now they have to sit in it. Sit in the mess they made, sit in the guilt, sit in the regret, sit in the crumbling ruins of a life built on lies and ego. And it burns. Oh, it burns bad. Because nothing hurts like watching the one you tried to bury bloom into something divine. Let me tell you something real. God will never let someone break you and get away with it. Not when you're chosen. Not when your intentions were pure. Not when all you did was love them. They're out here screaming, life isn't fair. But baby, life is exactly fair. They're just finally getting their turn. The same way you had to cry in silence, pick yourself up off the floor, rebuild with scraps, and walk through hell without a map. Now they have to face the mirror. And the reflection, it's not pretty. That guilt is choking them. That shame is heavy. The same tricks they used to manipulate others, backfiring. The same lies they told on you, exposed. The same emotional damage they caused, now coming for their heart. They're unraveling, and it's not because of anything you did, it's because of everything they did. You hear me? You didn't lift a hand. The divine did. The get back wasn't a scandal. It wasn't messy. It wasn't loud. It was righteous. It was silent. It was spiritual. They're being punished in ways you'll never see, but they feel it every single day. And the worst part, they know it's because of you. They know the reason their life is falling apart is because they went after someone they should have left alone. So let them spiral, let them weep, let them feel the heat they asked for. Your job now is simple. Protect your peace, guard your light, and never forget who you are. You were never average. You were never soft. You were chosen. And they messed with the wrong one. And now life is tearing them to pieces. And listen closely, chosen one. Don't even think about clicking off now, because what you just heard, that was only the warning shot. The real unraveling, the full breakdown of how karma is breaking this person down piece by piece, is just getting started. We're about to go deeper into the exact reasons life is tearing them up and why they can't stomach the get-back you never even had to deliver yourself. So if you're ready to watch their mask slip and their lies eat them alive, drop the number 777 in the comments to confirm you're locked in. And if this message hits home, consider dropping a super thanks. Your support fuels this mission and helps get this truth in front of every soul who's been silently enduring spiritual warfare. And now, let's dive into the depths, step by step, layer by layer. If you're really one of the chosen, I promise, your spirit won't let you look away. Let's get started. Number 1, the obsession that backfired. They tried to ruin your name, but ended up erasing their own legacy. That's the truth. Let's tell it raw. They made you their full-time job. You were their obsession, their competition, their private war, and yet, somehow, they still lost. While you were focused on healing, they were focused on harming. While you were building quietly, they were destroying loudly. They put your name in rooms you'd never walked in, told lies with their whole chest, crafted gossip like it was a masterpiece. And for what? For nothing. Because none of it stuck. You were too anointed, too protected, too chosen. Chosen ones don't fall when people dig graves for them. They rise through the dirt and bloom wild. That's what makes them dangerous. You weren't fighting back with words. You weren't stooping down to their level. You let your silence echo through the universe, and the universe made it loud. Now look, they can't breathe without choking on your name. They can't sleep without dreaming of your glow. They can't stand the very thought of your elevation, because deep down they know your rise exposes their failure. And that, my love, is a spiritual gut punch they were never ready for. Let me ask you something. How many nights did they spend talking about you like you were nothing? How many people did they gather like a team, hoping their combined hate would outweigh your destiny? How many prayers did they whisper, not to lift themselves, but to block you? And still, here you are, winning, radiating, unbothered. That's what real power looks like. You didn't have to clap back. You didn't have to fight dirty. Your glow did all the work. Your progress is the revenge. And baby, it's got them spiraling. The same mouth that cursed you is now dry from gossip. The same eyes that rolled when you walked in are now watching your every move. And the same people who tried to pull you down are asking how you're still standing. How? Because you're chosen. You ever wonder why certain people made you the center of their hate campaign? It's because you reminded them of everything they aren't. You exposed their lack of discipline just by showing up with integrity. You made them insecure by simply existing. You don't even have to try. Your presence disrupts demons. Your energy causes chaos in fake people. You walk into a room and every hidden snake in the grass starts hissing. That's the price of being marked by light. Let's talk examples. You think it was a coincidence that people hated on Kobe, or Tupac, or Nipsey, or Malcolm, or Muhammad Ali. People hated their confidence, their boldness, their presence. People always fear what they cannot control. And you, my love, are uncontrollable. That's why they obsess. That's why they gossip. That's why they can't sleep unless they're plotting, because your very existence is a threat to every mask they wear. And here's the kicker, they knew. They knew who you were long before you did. That's why they tried to dim you so early. They saw your potential before you even saw it yourself. That ex that belittled you, they saw your power. That friend that suddenly turned snake, they saw your destiny. They all felt it. And instead of healing themselves, they declared war on someone who never needed to swing a sword. But the obsession backfired. What they meant to destroy you only trained you. Every rumor made you stronger. Every betrayal taught you boundaries. Every rejection redirected your path. You leveled up on their curses. You glowed up on their gossip. And now, they're sitting in rooms full of people they gossiped with, and not one of them can help them breathe again. They're haunted by the person they tried to break. You're not a memory, you're a mirror, and that reflection is burning them alive. Let's make it clear, they tried to end you, but all they did was introduce you to your higher self. That's what happens when people play with chosen ones. They don't realize we're built different. We don't fight with fists. We fight with faith. We don't come back with noise. We come back with glory. We don't plot revenge. We inherit the throne. And that throne, it's yours now, whether they like it or not. So let them choke on your name. Let them feel your absence like a wound that won't close. Let them whisper your story with cracked voices and jealous eyes, because their obsession gave birth to your resilience. And now, you're untouchable, elevated, feared. They can't copy it, they can't block it, and they definitely can't handle the get-back that's already ripping their world apart. This ain't about being petty. This ain't about vengeance. This is about balance. The scales have shifted, and now the same energy they spent trying to break you, it's bouncing back like a boomerang from hell. They're confused why their life feels cursed, but the truth, it's just karma, divine, relentless, personal. You don't owe them your energy. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them a single glance back. All you owe them is distance. They had a front row seat to your destruction. Now they get a distant view of your ascension. They don't get to sit at your table anymore. Not now, not ever. And if they're still watching, let them. Because the same obsession that backfired is now their punishment. Stay focused, chosen one. The get back is already in motion. And life is doing the talking for you. Number 2, the spiritual law they forgot. You never needed revenge. The universe has a memory sharper than any sword, and karma never forgets a name. That's what they forgot. They forgot the law that governs this entire realm. The one rule even demons can't outrun. What you put out will come back. And now, the curses they whispered behind your back are sitting in their house like uninvited spirits. The lies they told are hanging over them like a storm cloud. The pain they caused you, the nights you cried alone, the betrayal you couldn't explain, the silence you endured, has returned with interest, multiplied and magnified. They laughed at your tears, didn't they? Smirked when you fell, mocked your struggle like it was entertainment. They treated your breakdown like a punchline. They turned your pain into gossip. They said things like, "She's too emotional. He's not strong enough. They'll never bounce back." But now they're the ones waking up in cold sweats. They're the ones afraid to pick up the phone, afraid of what's coming next, because they forgot the spiritual law. The energy you release is the energy that returns. And baby, it's returning with a vengeance. This isn't superstition. This isn't fear-mongering. This is spiritual physics, universal law. Even the stars obey it. You think you can sow betrayal and harvest peace. You think you can bury people with lies and expect flowers to grow in your life. Nah, that's not how any of this works, and they knew better, or at least they should have. You ever wonder why certain people who seem so powerful on the outside suddenly fall apart behind closed doors? Why their smile fades when no one's looking? Why success slips through their fingers like sand, no matter how hard they try to hold it? That's karma, love. And it doesn't care about status, looks, or fake apologies. It only cares about balance, and it will collect. You didn't ask for justice. You didn't beg for revenge. You didn't curse them back. That's why the universe is handling it for you. Because the energy you held, it was sacred. Even in your pain, you never tried to destroy. Even when they twisted your heart, you never twisted the knife. You showed mercy when they showed malice. You held peace when they wanted war. And now, the universe is rewarding your restraint and repaying their wickedness. They thought divine law was a joke. They thought they were too slick, too powerful, too protected to be touched. But baby, ain't nobody too powerful to be humbled. Ask Pharaoh, ask Goliath, ask every villain who thought they were untouchable until God said enough. These people thought because the consequences didn't come instantly, they would never come at all. But divine timing is different. Sometimes God lets people build their own gallows, brick by brick, lie by lie. And when the trap finally closes, it's perfect. That's where they are now, in the trap they built for you. Let me break this down even deeper, because I know some of you are still healing, still confused about how people who did you wrong are suddenly pretending to suffer. You're seeing them fall, and you're wondering, should I help? Nah, you shouldn't. Because what you're witnessing is not bad luck. It's divine law. It's the mirror. Every time they whispered darkness behind your back, that mirror stored the energy. Every time they laughed when you were low, that mirror cracked a little more. And now, it's shattered in their face. They see the truth now. Not your truth. The truth. That you were protected the whole time. That your heart wasn't weakness, it was evidence of your divinity. That your light wasn't just brightness, it was judgment. They stood in front of a chosen one and thought they could spit in your face without consequence. But you don't play with light and walk away clean. You don't slap divine favor and not expect a reaction. Now their words are devouring them, their lies are closing in, their intentions are folding back like a snake eating its own tail. They cursed you, but cursed themselves. They plotted on your downfall, but planned their own destruction. And the wildest part? Some of them still don't get it. They're blaming everyone but themselves, blaming their boss, their ex, their bad luck. But deep down, they know, they feel it. That invisible hand pressing down on their chest. That constant sense of dread, that paranoia when nothing seems wrong on the outside. That's karma knocking. That's the universe collecting. Let me remind you, you don't have to lift a finger. You already won. The get back is already written, and that guilt they're drowning in, it's custom made, tailored by their own actions. That's what makes divine justice so poetic. It doesn't just hit them, it teaches them. Every sleepless night, every failed plan, every blocked blessing is a lesson, and they earned every second of it. You may still be healing, still picking up the pieces, but don't confuse their suffering with your responsibility. You didn't cause their pain. They did. They caused it when they chose ego over empathy, betrayal over loyalty, lies over love. And now, the same mirror they used to reflect darkness onto you is stuck in front of them, and it won't shatter this time. It won't look away. It's going to make them watch every lie, every manipulation, every game, over and over, until they see themselves for who they truly are. And you don't even have to watch. Your only job now is to rise, quietly, powerfully, unapologetically, because karma already chose sides. The mirror already turned, and every single curse they sent your way has come home. Number 3. Karmic lover or silent enemy. They didn't betray you because you were weak. They betrayed you because you were glowing in rooms they thought belonged to them. Let's call it what it is, envy in its purest, most venomous form. This wasn't just a breakup. This wasn't just a friend turning cold. This wasn't just a family member acting funny. No, this was a soul-level attack, a spiritual hit job, a karmic habaru al-kazva kapsolatnak. And deep down, you felt it, didn't you? That unease in your gut, that strange shift in their tone, that subtle jealousy they tried to mask with fake compliments. You saw the signs, but you still loved them anyway. That's what makes you chosen. That's what made you dangerous. Because even when you knew they didn't clap when you were winning, you still tried to lift them. You still gave. You still poured into their empty cups. But the truth is, some people are never empty. They're poisoned. And they were drinking from your soul like it was nothing. That karmic lover, they never loved you. They loved how you loved them. That fake friend, they didn't hate you. They hated your mirror. That family member, they didn't want your downfall. They wanted your position. But now, the veil is off. That glow they once mocked is now blinding them. That grace they tried to mimic has turned against them, because the universe doesn't play when it comes to chosen ones. And now your light is doing what you never had to. It's exposing every lie, every shady intention, every twisted smile. They're uncomfortable around you, not because of who you've become, but because of what they've hidden. Your presence reveals the darkness they can't run from anymore. And here's the part that hurts them most. You didn't clap back. You didn't need revenge. You just walked away. And the moment you did, the illusion shattered. You were the blessing. You were the access. You were the light keeping their life from full collapse. And now that you're gone, that collapse is here, slowly, painfully, righteously. So don't question the past. Don't regret who you loved. Don't wonder, what if I stayed? Because the truth is, they were never on your level. They were just karma wrapped in flesh. And now, the universe is doing what it always promised, balancing the scales in your favor. Number 4, the get back was spiritual. The loudest revenge is the life they can no longer touch, and the silence they now have to suffer in. See, they expected a war. They expected you to snap, to crumble, to clap back and beg. But instead, you disappeared. You elevated in silence. You healed without an audience. You walked away without warning. And that was the part that broke them, because they weren't ready for your glow-up. They weren't prepared for the power of the universe moving on your behalf. They thought this was personal. But the get back? It wasn't even about you. It was spiritual. It was divine. You didn't scheme. You didn't manipulate. You didn't throw dirt on their name. You just let go. And the moment you did, the universe picked up where you left off. That's the part they didn't understand. When you're chosen, You don't need revenge. You have alignment. You have divine order. You have the ancestors, the guides, the angels, the energy of all the pain you endured, turning into firepower behind the scenes. And while you were evolving, they were unraveling. The same hands they used to tear you down are now trembling. The same mouth that cursed you can't speak peace into their own life. The same eyes that rolled at your growth are now watching your elevation from the sidelines, helpless, bitter, shook. That's why spiritual get-back hits harder, because it doesn't make a sound. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need a post or a clapback or a scene. It just happens. Their blessings dry up. Their relationships collapse. Their sleep vanishes. Their fake persona crumbles. And all of it happens while you rise higher, quietly, righteously, unreachable. Let this remind you of one thing. You didn't win because you fought back. You won because you let go. And in doing so, you gave the universe permission to handle what you never needed to carry. That's divine authority. That's sacred justice. That's what happens when a chosen one stops chasing peace and becomes it. So no, this wasn't revenge. This wasn't petty. This was realignment. This was protection. This was God saying, move. I got this. And now they're living in the silence they tried to bury you in. Only difference is you survived it. They won't. Number 5. When they wished for your fall. You can't bury a chosen one and expect peace. All you do is invite the grave into your own life. Let's speak it plain. They didn't just envy you. They didn't just dislike you. They wanted you gone, not just out of their life, out of existence. That's how deep their hatred ran. The type of darkness that can only grow in someone who sees your light and realizes they will never have it. Some of them wished you'd disappear. Some of them whispered curses into the universe, praying you'd fail, praying you'd break down, praying you'd die. They didn't say it out loud, but their spirit screamed it. And now that same spirit is suffocating them. Because when you send death energy to a chosen one, you don't kill them. You awaken something ancient, something divine, something you can't outrun. The grave they dug, it's calling them now. The shadows they played with, they're dragging them down. And it's not just bad luck. It's spiritual torment. It's sleepless nights. It's hearing whispers when nobody's there. It's feeling watched. It's waking up with dread, haunted by the energy they unleashed. Because every curse has a cost. Every wish for your downfall was a contract they signed with karma. And now it's time to pay up. Let me be clear, what they sent was never light. It wasn't just gossip. It wasn't just betrayal. It was spiritual violence, and you felt it. You felt the weight, the sudden heaviness, the strange darkness that lingered even after you walked away. That wasn't imagination. That was warfare. You were under attack, energetically, emotionally, spiritually. But because you are chosen, you survived what was designed to destroy you. And that survival triggered the return. Now they're paranoid. Why? Because they know. They know what they did in the dark. They know what they spoke over your life. They know the intentions they buried under fake smiles and half-hearted apologies. And the silence? It's screaming back at them now. The walls feel closer. Their breath feels shorter. That darkness they sent out, it's sleeping in their bed, riding in their car, following them in every mirror. And the wildest part? You didn't even retaliate. You just stood in your truth. You just kept rising. And that's what haunts them most. You didn't die like they prayed you would. You didn't collapse. You ascended. And now, while you walk in peace, they're trapped in the spiritual consequence of their own hatred. Because the grave meant for you. became their final address. Number 6. Self-destruction disguised as bad luck. It's not falling apart by accident. It's the price of playing God in someone else's story. See, they'll tell everyone life is just hard right now, that they're having a streak of bad luck, that they're under attack. But what they'll never admit is that they attacked first. They sabotaged first. They betrayed first. And now, they're simply choking on the poison they mixed for you. The universe didn't curse them. You didn't hex them. This isn't magic. This is math. Every lie, added weight, every betrayal, another crack in the foundation. Every manipulation, theft, backstab, smear campaign, or fake tear. A slow leak in their destiny. And now, everything's caving in. Their money's gone, their energy's drained, their relationships are imploding, and they swear it's the devil. They swear it's witchcraft, but the truth, it's justice, divine, delayed, but never denied. They wore your downfall like a trophy. They bragged about how they got over on you, how they left you broken, how they won. But what they didn't realize was, the game wasn't over, and now they're watching every door close, every friend turn cold, every dollar slip away, not because of bad luck, but because spiritual law doesn't play favorites. When you cross a chosen one, your actions come back with interest. This is the part where they start spiraling, where the guilt creeps in, and their mind begins to fracture. They can't focus, can't rest, can't create, because the storm they unleashed has finally found its sender. And you didn't have to say a word. You didn't have to lift a hand. You just walked away. That's why it stings so bad. Because the storm didn't start until you left. And now they know they weren't cursed. They were covered by you. You were the blessing. You were the anchor. And the second they dishonored you, they cut their own lifeline. That's not a curse. That's consequence. So let them blame the stars. Let them burn sage in panic. Let them call it karma, when really it's just the return policy on spiritual theft. They robbed you of time, energy, love, and trust, and now the universe is taking everything they stole and more. This isn't bad luck. This is their own storm, and it's only just begun. Number 7. Mental collapse. The silent breakdown. You don't have to put hands on someone to destroy them. Sometimes all it takes is their own reflection. That's what's happening now. Their greatest enemy isn't you. It never was. It's the person staring back at them in the mirror, and they can't stand the sight. The mask is slipping. The lies are too loud. The guilt, unbearable. You see, when they projected darkness onto you, they were trying to dump their own self-hatred onto a soul that was never built to carry it. And the universe, it rerouted that energy straight back to sender. Now, they're stuck in the same shadows they tried to bury you under. They're not okay, not mentally, not emotionally. The mind games they played with others are now playing themselves, looping, torturing, echoing. You remember those nights you couldn't sleep because your spirit was heavy for no reason. That was their energy. The confusion, the anxiety, the self-doubt, that was the darkness they leaked into your field. But you healed, you elevated, you returned to light, and now they're stuck in the very mental pit they tried to drag you into. This is the part they never saw coming, the silent breakdown. No screaming, no explosion, just a slow, private collapse of the soul. They can't fake it anymore. They can't distract themselves with gossip or noise. Because the silence, it's deafening, and it's not peaceful, it's punishment. That silence is filled with echoes of every lie they told, every seed of doubt they planted, every mask they wore. You want to know the real reason they're spiraling? It's because you forgave them, and that forgiveness robbed them of justification. They can't tell themselves you're bitter. They can't play the victim. You healed, and now they're exposed. And what's left underneath the act? Regret, shame, spiritual insanity. They're walking around with smiles, but their eyes are hollow. They're posting wins, but their soul is collapsing behind every filter. The same mind that mocked you is now tormenting them. The same mouth that twisted the truth can't even speak their own. The darkness they denied is now their only companion. You didn't destroy them. They did it to themselves. You were just the mirror, and now they can't bear to look. Number 8. You were the final test. Some people don't realize they just lost their last chance until heaven goes silent. That's what you were. Their final chance, their last mercy, the walking warning wrapped in love, patience, forgiveness, and light. And they didn't just ignore it, they violated it. You weren't another random lesson for them to play with. You were the moment the universe said, "Choose wisely, because after this, you're on your own." But they didn't choose wisely. They chose ego, they chose pride, they chose betrayal, and in doing so, they didn't just hurt you, they rejected divine favor. That's why their life is crumbling now. That's why nothing they do sticks. That's why they feel abandoned, confused, cursed. Because the moment they crossed you was the moment they crossed the threshold of protection. They didn't just violate a person, they violated a position, a spiritual one. And there are consequences for that. They had warnings, they had dreams, they had gut feelings. They knew something was different about you. Your spirit was rare, your energy felt unfamiliar, too pure, too still, too powerful, but they still moved reckless. Still tested your patience, still mocked your pain, still tried to dominate what was sent to elevate them. That's when the universe sealed the case. Because a chosen one isn't sent to everyone. They are an opportunity, a turning point, a crossroad. And when you get one and betray it, you trigger exile. Now they can't hear divine guidance. Their prayers are hitting ceilings. Their dreams are full of shadows. Their heart is cold, their spirit dry, because they touched what was not to be touched. You think this is drama? Nah, this is spiritual law. You were the gate, and now it's closed. And no matter how loud they scream, how hard they try, how deep they spiral, the silence they feel is permanent. You weren't their downfall. You were their way out. But they chose betrayal over breakthrough, and now they're on their own. No more lifelines, no more mercy, just the echo of what they could have had, and the pain of what they'll never touch again. Number 9. Don't you dare save them. The moment you rescue someone from the fire they started, you start burning too. And that's what the enemy wants. Not healing, not closure, access. They don't miss you. They miss the covering. They miss the light you carried that kept their life from collapsing. And now that the consequences have arrived, now that life is dragging them through the hell they created, they'll crawl back with shaky voices, with watery eyes, with carefully crafted apologies dressed as truth. But don't you dare fall for it, chosen one. Because this isn't redemption, it's manipulation. Again, you'll feel the pull, that old compassion, that desire to fix, to help, to heal. It's your nature. That's what makes you divine. But don't confuse your calling with their karma. You were sent to teach, not to rescue, and they failed the test. Miserably. You warned them, you loved them, you gave them chances most people wouldn't survive, and still they spat in the face of your grace. What they're feeling now, that agony, that regret, that madness, that's their harvest. And here's the part that the universe wants you to engrave in your spirit. If you interfere with their karma, you will inherit it. You'll start drowning in storms that were never meant for you. Your energy will drain, your peace will disappear, your clarity will fog, because you're carrying someone else's weight, someone who had every chance to do right by you and chose destruction. They don't deserve a second entrance into your life, because you were never the villain. You were the blessing. You were the light keeping their world warm. And the moment they disrespected it, they activated a timeline without you. And that timeline is cold, lonely, dark, and necessary. This is not the time to feel sorry. This is the time to remember the version of you that cried alone, the one who begged for answers, the one they laughed at while you were breaking. That version of you deserves justice, and justice means letting them sit in it. You are not their healer anymore. You are not their rehab. You are not their savior. You are the mirror. Let them stare at what they've done. Let them break under the weight of their own choices. Let them feel what you were forced to survive. Because that's not cruelty. That's spiritual balance. Number 10. Even the children were targeted. When you touch what is sacred to the universe, the punishment doesn't just echo, it roars. They could have walked away. They could have kept their poison to themselves. But no, some of them stooped to that level, the lowest, the dirtiest, the point of no return. They didn't just come for you. They came for the innocent, the defenseless, the pure, the children. And in doing so, they crossed a line that even the darkest energies tremble at. Because if there's one thing the universe protects with unshakable vengeance, it's the youth. And when someone goes after them, that's when divine wrath stops being gentle. That's when the gloves come off. Some of them tried to spiritually manipulate your children. Some tried to weaponize kids in revenge games. Some went after unborn potential, sabotaging dreams, spreading curses, speaking sickness, projecting jealousy. Do you understand how vile that is? How irreversible? That wasn't just wrong. That was war against the sacred. And now, the consequences are different, harsher, eternal. You see, when they came for you, they still had a chance, a sliver of grace, a door they could have humbled themselves through. But when they targeted what the universe treasures, that door slammed shut. And not just shut, sealed. Some of them will never recover. Some of them triggered generational consequences, and you'll start to notice their lineage is collapsing. Their bloodline feels cursed. Opportunities dry up. Mental instability runs rampant. Nothing grows, nothing flows, because the spiritual consequence wasn't just for them. It spilled onto everything they're connected to. You might be thinking, but why would they do that? Because demons don't care who gets hurt, and when people become consumed by envy and hatred, they become vessels for darkness. That's what some of these people became. And the tragedy, they thought they could get away with it. But the universe doesn't miss, not when it comes to the pure, not when it comes to children. So if you're sitting here wondering why life is tearing them up, look no further. Look at what they touched. Look at how far they went. This wasn't just petty hate. This was a spiritual violation. And the get back? It's not temporary. It's generational. You were always going to be protected. But the moment they involved the innocent, they didn't just curse themselves. They doomed themselves. Number 11. You paid in tears, they'll pay in silence. The universe doesn't forget tears, it just waits for the right silence to make them scream. They thought you'd stay broken, didn't they? Thought your tears were weakness, thought your silence meant defeat. But every time you cried into that pillow, every time your soul screamed behind a calm face, every time you kept going with no applause, no help, no closure, the universe was listening. And while they were laughing, mocking, winning fake battles, your pain was building a ledger, a spiritual record. And baby, that debt just came due. Now it's their turn to sit in silence, but not the kind that brings peace. No, this silence torments. It replays every moment they hurt you, every lie, every betrayal, every smirk. Every time they turned their back and thought she'll never bounce back. He's finished. That silence is now their prison. It's filled with shadows, with memories they can't escape, with echoes of a connection they'll never feel again, with reminders of a soul they disrespected and lost forever. You paid in tears, the kind that only the chosen cry, quiet, sacred tears that carry lifetimes of strength. You cried not just for what they did, but for who you had to become to survive it, for the old version of you that died in the process. And now they have to pay, but they won't pay in fire, not in explosions. That would be too easy. They'll pay in quiet, in long nights with no rest, in bright days with no joy, in relationships that feel empty, in achievements that feel meaningless. Because once you've betrayed a soul as pure, as chosen as you, even success tastes bitter, even blessings feel hollow. Nothing fills the void of divine favor lost. You see, the silence you once endured built your power, but the silence they're enduring now, it's unraveling them. They're watching you from a distance, glowing, rising, becoming untouchable, and that glow is haunting them. Not because they didn't see it before, but because they did, and tried to smother it anyway. They thought you were crying alone, but you weren't. The universe was counting. And now they'll sit in silence too. Only difference is, you healed in yours, they'll drown in theirs. Number 12. Let the universe finish what it started. When you walk away in silence, the universe speaks louder than any revenge ever could. You've cried, you've questioned, you've healed in private, you've screamed into the void and gotten back only echoes. But despite it all, you stood tall. And now it's time to do the hardest thing a chosen one ever has to do. Let go completely, not just physically, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Because when the betrayal was fresh, your soul screamed for justice. Your heart ached for closure. Your mind wanted them to feel what they made you feel. But now, that part of your journey is over. You did your part. You healed your wounds, sat with your shadows, and stood face to face with pain and didn't flinch. That's growth. That's power. That's why the universe is stepping in now. Because it needed to see if you could rise without revenge. And you did. So step back, step all the way back, because now it's karma's turn. The get back, it's already in motion. You may not see it every day, but it's happening, slowly, precisely, perfectly, and it won't come the way they expect it. It won't look like drama or explosions. It'll look like loss. Loss of peace, loss of direction, loss of self. Everything they built on your broken pieces will start to fall apart, quietly, privately, and without anyone to blame but themselves. And they'll know. That's the worst part. They'll know it's because of how they treated you. But you don't owe them your presence. You don't owe them forgiveness just because they're suffering. You don't owe them a response. They had access to your love and fumbled it like it was disposable. And now they want sympathy from the same hands they tried to crush? Absolutely not. You owe yourself now. Your energy, your joy, your softness, your peace, everything you were pouring into broken people just to prove your worth. It's time to pour that into you. Let the universe finish what it started. Let karma walk them through the very pain they thought was funny when it was yours. Let the silence echo. Let the consequences teach them the lesson you never could. Because here's the truth. They didn't respect your love when they had it. Now they'll respect your absence forever. Let go, not for them, for you. The get back? Already done. And now that it's all been said, let this be your final reminder, chosen one. You were never the villain. You were the test, the light, the lesson. And their downfall, that's not your burden. That's their karma. So hold your peace, protect your glow, and never apologize for the favor on your life. If this message hit your spirit, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop 777 in the comments to confirm you're done saving those who tried to destroy you. And don't forget, share this with another chosen one who needs to remember who they are.